Hi guys, welcome back and welcome. I don't even want to say the words out loud. The final episode of Bookmas. This is it. We're at the end of Bookmas for 2024, which I can't believe we're here. I've had the best time. But even though it's so sad we're saying goodbye to 2024 books, I'm so pumped for 2025. There are so many good releases, and I know you guys give me hate about what I do to your bank accounts, about what I'm doing to your TBR, because we're adding so many books to it. But I'm sorry, I'm here to make it even worse because the 2025 new releases are so good, and I have compiled a list of all the ones that I think you should have on your radar. So when they come out, we can be excited together, read them together. So I'm going to talk you through my most anticipated reads for 2025. And I also wanted to tell you how you could find ones that might be even more like appropriate to you. If anybody knows how to do this on like the phone version of Goodreads is just the worst app in the world, isn't it? It's so painful. But if you know how to use the phone version, then let me know. But I can only find this on the desktop. But if on the desktop version of Goodreads, type Goodreads into Google, you go to Goodreads, along the top you've got Home, My Books, Browse or Community. If you click into Browse and then scroll down to New Releases, which for me is like the fourth option down on the list, it will then give you, if you look at it by author, all of the new releases of the authors that you have read this year that are coming up in 2025. So it only gives you up to like the first 6 months for me. But like, for example, the first one on the list for here is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. That's coming on the 21st of Jan, and it will then take me through the next 6 months of all the books it thinks are relevant to me. So just in case you didn't know that you can do that, it might be worth you having a look on your own Goodreads and seeing like what are all the cool books that are coming up based on your Goodreads and your reading preferences. It'll tell you it all for the next 6 months, which I think is so fun. Anyway, I have compiled my own list, partly with Goodreads help, and then partly I've just been like filling in the gaps where I feel like there are other ones outside of Goodreads that I'm really excited about. Okay, so beginning in Jan, we are starting off the year stronger than I could have ever imagined. We're starting off the year with Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young, which is the second part of the interconnected standalone series. Out on a Limb was one of my favourite books of the entire year for 2024. Some of you guys will know how much I love that book, what that book means to me. It's just, I absolutely loved it. And the fact that I get to read Hannah Bonham Young's writing again so soon, I don't know whether Burn Wind story will just have like a special place in my heart, and maybe the second installment won't quite live up to it, but hopefully I love it just as much. So if you've read Out on a Limb, then Out of the Woods follows some of the side characters from Out on a Limb. It follows the story of Sarah and Caleb, which I'm so interested to read about because Sarah and Caleb are married. In Out on a Limb, they've been together for 17 years. They're like so steadfast and such a sure thing. And it sounds like Out of the Woods is gonna start exploring like when you've been with somebody for a really long time, some of the doubts and fears that creep in and how you weather the storms of a long-term relationship. It sounds like Sarah's gonna be questioning like, who am I outside? Like, what is my identity? Once you're part of such a strong team, like who are you as an individual outside of your relationship? And I love the way that Hannah Bonham Young describes love. I love the way that she talks about relationships. And I think she's gonna handle some of these topics that I want insight into. Like, I wanna know, how do I maintain the type of love that I want long term? And I'm so looking forward to hearing how she describes a couple like weather that storm and hopefully hold on to each other and like go through life's ups and downs after being together for such a long time. So yeah, I'm so excited for that one. Starting off the year so strong. That is January the 28th, Out of the Woods. That is the only book that I've got on my new releases for January. So one book for Jan, tick that off, which to be honest I'm pretty pleased with because my current physical TBR is long. So I've got the first like 3 or 4 weeks of Jan to get through my entire physical TBR before all the new releases hit. Okay, February is kind of a busy month. So we start off February with Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Honestly, I'm just always so excited to read Ali Hazelwood's books. Even if I don't necessarily love all of them, like I don't understand why I always want to read her books when I don't love them all, but I just think her characters are always so interesting. I think the topics that she writes about are always so interesting. I love that they're always like STEM, or just like a totally different profession or a totally different, like Check and Mate was the recent one that I read that was all about chess, and like I don't play chess, I know nothing about chess. Like I really enjoyed it. Anyway, Deep End is about 2 divers. If I am correct, this is an adult romance, so probably going to be quite spicy. As far as I understand it, it is predicted to be like the spiciest book that she's written so far, so let's see what that's like. It's a college romance, they're swimmers. I know very little about competitive swimming, like I swam at school competitively, but like that's been it. So I'm really excited for that one. And yeah, Ali Hazelwood's writing is always so funny, it's so sharp, there's so much like wit and banter. I just hope she keeps like pop culture to a minimum. I don't love it when she does that. And I hope the spice is written with like some depth to it. Sometimes that can stray, but I'm 100% gonna read Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. 4th of February, if you wanna stick that in your calendars. Okay, the next one I've got on my list is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, which is coming out on the 11th of February, so just in time for Valentine's Day. I have very recently just finished Love Like Farms, which was my first B.K. Borison book, and I loved it. It was so sweet, it was so romantic, it gave me all of those cozy, like Christmassy movie vibes all in a book, and I loved it so much. So I would love to read another B.K. Borison, and this new one sounds so perfect. It's a hopeless romantic, that's me, meets a radio host. I don't know if you know this, but Cameron is like a DJ on the side. He used to do it professionally back in South Africa and now just like does it for fun. So I'm loving those like parallels between our lives, and it's described as a Sleepless in Seattle inspired love story. I love the movie Sleepless in Seattle like so much. So I'm so excited. Oh, and it says here, Aidan Valentine, as if his surname is Valentine, has fallen out of love with love. And it's a guy who's fallen out of love with love, meeting a hopeless romantic. I mean, I'm gonna eat it up. Eat it up. Literally can't wait. Next is The Charlie Method, an Elle Kennedy one, on February the 25th. Now, I still actually haven't read The Graham Effect and The Dixon Rule, which are the first two in the series, but they're on my shelf. I need to get to them. They're on my TBR. So I've got until February the 25th to read those two books before I can read The Charlie Method. I love the off-campus series so much. The Briar You series, like not so much, but I did really enjoy a few of those books. So I'm really excited to read more of this one. I don't know what this series is technically called, but it's about the children of the off-campus series basically. So yeah, The Charlie Method, February the 25th, excited about that. And then in March, I've only got one book on the list, and that is Wildside by Elsie Silver. It's the third book in the Rose Hill series. Every single book is a single dad. They've been hinting at who this book is going to be about. It's going to be about Reese and Tabby. He seems very like grumpy. It seems like kind of like an enemies to lovers. Obviously it's not true enemies, like we're not in a fantasy universe here, but like they don't like each other at all. And somehow it seems like two people that hate each other and end up either a marriage of convenience or fake dating. I think it's a marriage of convenience. So I'm really excited for this one. I think it could be my fave of the series so far. So very excited for Wildside. Right, are you ready? Strap in. April's big. We have a lot going on in April. It's the month I'm most excited about in the entire year, without a doubt. We're starting off on the 1st of April, day one. We're coming out swinging. And we've got Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Oh, I loved Just for the Summer so much. I loved Yours Truly. To be honest, I literally loved them all from that series. To be honest, it's the only 3 Abby Jimenez books that I've read so far, but Say You'll Remember Me, if I'm honest, I know absolutely nothing about the book and I don't feel like I need to. I don't think I'm even gonna look up what it's about. Like, I am just going to read it. If you love Abby Jimenez, like, let's all do this together. Say You'll Remember Me, 1st of April, like, let's go. Then, only 7 days later, on the 8th of April, we have Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I still don't really know exactly how I feel about the Powerless and Reckless and Powerful, like the 3 books that came first. Partly I enjoyed it and partly they really irritated me, so I honestly just still don't know how I feel, but I know that I want to know what happens next, so maybe that is a sign that they are good. I don't know, but I want to know what happens next. I am going to be picking up Fearless, like I want to read it. It's actually one of those ones I'd love to listen to on audiobook, so I hope the audiobook's good. I hope the audiobook comes out with the same voice actors that Reckless was in, because I actually quite enjoyed that. Reckless was definitely less annoying to me. Weirdly, like the novella Powerful was my favorite. Like I thought that was so sweet, so heart-wrenching. But anyway, I'm definitely still gonna read Fearless and like fingers crossed. I think it's that type of a situation. It's like, I really hope it's good. I really hope that like it continues the series in a good way. I think in a lot of ways, Reckless was like a little bit of a filler book. And as far as I understand it, Fearless is the final book in the series. So I feel like a lot needs to happen. So hopefully it's going to be quite a fast-paced, action-packed book, which I think bodes well. So that is Fearless by Lauren Roberts on the 8th of April. Then again, only a week later, honestly, we are smashing these out in April. Only a week later, we have Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. I still haven't read the last couple in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. I read the first one and it was like okay to me. I think because I just come off Chestnut Springs, it was a little bit of like a letdown, like a more kind of like basic version. But I do weirdly like really remember it, and I did enjoy it. So I am thinking that I do want to read more of the series, and I will be picking up Wild and Wrangled, even though I haven't read one of the other two. It's Lost and Lassoed, or Lost and Lassoed, and I can't remember the other one now, but I've read Done and Dusted. That's the only one I've read. So I will be picking that up. Next we have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry on April 22nd. We get another Emily Henry book in 2025, which is so exciting. I am getting the vibe that it might be a little bit Happy Placey. Happy Place is not my fave. It didn't resonate with me that much, and it kind of bummed me out. Like, that's how I describe it, even if that's not the most eloquent description of how a book made me feel. Like, it kind of bummed me out, and it just didn't really resonate, the storyline. It sounds quite like beach read-esque. Like, this is two writers that compete for a chance to tell a larger than life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists up her sleeve in this dazzling and sweeping new novel. So I don't know, there's just something about the title, like Great Big Beautiful Life, like the way that Happy Place, it ended up actually being quite a sad book. But then I don't know, because I think like Funny Story actually was a funny story. So I am hoping that it's like more funny story coded than Happy Place coded. If it's somewhere in the middle along the like book lovers, beach read. Book lovers I found a little bit annoying. Beach read I really enjoyed. So we'll see where it lands up, but I am obviously going to read it. Anything Emily Henry writes, I will be reading. Next, we're still in April. April is still happening. Next, this is the final one for April. Rewind It Back by Liz Tom Ford. I think this is probably, I don't know if it feels too bold to say this is like maybe my most anticipated book of the entire year. I'm so excited to read Rio's story. This man deserves his love story so much. He has been in this series from the very beginning. He has been like the golden retriever, light-hearted, funny one in the group from the very beginning, and he so deserves love. Like, he's said a couple of times in the previous books, like, when's it my turn? And it's here, it's his turn. They still haven't released a front cover yet either for the book, and I'm so excited to see the cover because I think all of her covers are so pretty. I'm so excited to read Rio's story, but I also feel a little bit sad and a bit bittersweet because it's the last one in the Windy City series, and I've just loved those characters so much. I've loved the found family so much, and the fact that this is going to be it, like there's going to be no more after this, I just think that sucks, you know, like that's a sad fact. But they're on paper and they're on pages, which is why books are just such a gift. Like, we have them forever, we can reread it forever and ever and ever, which is that we have that. Okay, and then we're finally into May. May is also such a big month. Honestly, April and May, like, don't even make a TBR. We only have new releases to read. So May, we're starting off on the 13th. We have two new releases on the same day. We have Love Arranged by Lauren Asher, which is the third book in the Lakefront Billionaire series. I think that's what it's called. But we had Love Redesigned and Love Unwritten. Love Redesigned wasn't my fave. Love Unwritten I really enjoyed, and weirdly, like, I don't think I realized how much I enjoyed it until it was like all over and like a couple of weeks later, and I was still thinking about the book, and I was like, actually, you know what, I really enjoyed that. So I have no idea what Love Arranged is about. I don't know who the characters are in it, but I'm so excited for Love Arranged. May 13th, Lauren Asher. And then the other book that's releasing on the same day is Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. I read my first Kennedy Ryan book this year, and it was so good. It was so powerful. I've never read a book with such like traumatic topics discussed in such vivid detail, and the way that Kennedy Ryan handled those topics, I thought she did it so brilliantly, and I'm so interested to read more of her work. I'm so excited to read more of her work, and she has a new release that's coming out, and whether I'll buy it and then save it for later in the year once I've read a few more of her existing books that are already out, or whether I'll just read it straight away and then rewind back to some of her other ones, I don't know. But 2025 is definitely the year for more Kennedy Ryan. I just loved Long Shot so much that I'm so pumped for more. Then on the 20th of May, this is such a good one for so many of us, because I know how many of us love One Dark Window because we've all talked about it. And on the 20th of May, Rachel Gillig is coming out with the first book in her new series. It's called The Night and the Moth. The cover is beautiful. It's just described as the next big romantasy phenomenon. Okay, we'll believe it when we see it. It's gothic again, and it's mist-cloaked again. And it's about a prophetess, so a lady that has prophecies, who is on a mission to defeat the gods with a knight whose future is like beyond her sight. She can't see what this night is all about, and the two of them seem to go on some quest to defeat gods. I mean, knowing what she did with One Dark Window, I'm just so excited to read it. I think we have no reason not to believe it's going to be really good, and it's the first like big fantasy book of the year that I'm really pumped for, that I think it could be really, really good. Next is It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. I haven't actually read any Annabelle Monaghan yet, but I have heard that her writing, if you like Abby Jimenez, then you'll like her. And she is a new author that I really want to add to my list for 2025, and a new release is always a great place to start. I've heard such lovely things about Summer Romance, which was one of her new releases for 2024, I believe. I may have got that wrong, but there was definitely a lot of talk about it this year, Summer Romance. So I definitely want to read Summer Romance, and if she's got a new book coming out, I want to read that too, because if it's anything like Abby Jimenez, and I just love Abby Jimenez's books, then I want to find authors that are similar, that I can also fall in love with. So excited about that, which is the 27th of May. Again, so in May from the 13th, we just have like a new book every week. I'm so pumped. Okay, and then entering June, we have Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. We have a new TJR book. I don't know what it's about. I'm not going to look it up. I don't need to know. I just know I'm going to read it, and I probably know I'm going to love it because I have loved all of her books. Maybe unpopular opinion, Carrie Soto was actually my least favorite. I think Seven Husbands or Daisy Jones. Like Daisy Jones was the first one I read, and I read it years ago and I loved it so much, but then Seven Husbands was just like someone else, so I don't know. But I'm so excited for Atmosphere, and for some reason I always read her books in the summer, so I just feel like June the 3rd is like such a fun time to like, you're starting to feel all those really strong summery vibes to be reading her book, so very excited about that. Next, on the 10th of June, only a week later, we've got Caught Up by Nevessa Allen. Now, if you know, you know, I listened to the first one, Lights Out. Lights Out is part of the series Into the Dark. And listen, I am new to dark romance. I'm new to dark romantic comedies, but Lights Out, it sent me. I was cackling. I was genuinely shocked and shook. I have never read spice like that. I've never read humor like that. I've never read like, look, I don't exist on like the darker side of TikTok and Instagram and things. So just like reading about that entire universe, I had a whale of a time. I'm 100% gonna listen to the next one, Caught Up, which is like a mafia romance as far as I understand it. And the main male character for Caught Up is kind of alluded to in Lights Out. I might save that one for later in the year. I can't foresee me feeling like, those were not very like summery vibes, like they were like dark. I don't know, to me I just feel like those type of books, I just think Caught Up, like it's just gonna give that dark thing. I think it might be like more of an autumnal wintry book, so I'm definitely excited about it for 2025, but I'm not sure it's gonna be a 10th of June immediate listen. We'll see how we go. It was so funny, the first one. If the second one is anywhere near as funny, then like maybe just like summery flirtatious banter, maybe it fits, maybe it fits. Okay, next on the 17th of June, we have Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. The way that Ashley Poston, like magic realism is such an interesting, I don't even know if it's an entire genre in and of itself, but The 7-Year Slip was a fantastic book. I hate the fact that A 7-Year Slip didn't get any kind of honorable mention in my end of year book tag. It was definitely one of my favorite books of the year. I absolutely loved it. And I didn't read A Novel Love Story, which is one of her other new releases that came out in 2024. I just didn't hear great things. And to be honest, I'm only on the hype of like reading books that are supposed to be great because, you know, life is short, time is limited. I don't want to waste it reading books that like maybe aren't great. So I didn't bother with A Novel Love Story, but I am really excited about Sounds Like Love. I want to give it a go. And who doesn't want a little bit of magic sprinkled into reality in the middle of summer? So I'm pumped for that one. The next one is Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. Julie Soto, or Julie Soto, I'm actually not sure how you pronounce her name, is another author that I really want to add to my 2025 roster. I haven't read any of her stuff before, but I've seen so much love for her writing, the way she writes romance. And I think one of her books this year, Not Another Love Song, I've seen so much praise for. Heather McGlary is one of my favorite bookstagrammers, booktubers, booktalkers, bookish creators in general. She absolutely loved Not Another Love Song, and I just trust her recs. Like, even though weirdly our tastes are very different, I just really trust her recommendations. So I do want to get to Not Another Love Song, but Rose in Chains is actually Julie Soto's first dip into romantasy, and the way I have just seen the internet go wild, they're so excited to see how she is going to write fantasy for the first time, or romantasy more specifically. And if there's hype around something, I'm queuing, I'm lining up. I want to know, I want to be the first ones through the gate to find out what it's all about. So I'm definitely going to read that, even though I haven't read any of her work before. Hopefully before I get to Rose in Chains, I'll have an opportunity to read something else by her, just so that I can have that kind of comparison of her entering a new genre. But I did it the wrong way around with Ali Hazelwood. I read Bride before I read any of her other books, and I just dove straight into her first ever romantasy, and it actually worked so well for me. I loved Bride. So maybe I'll do the same thing with Julie Soto, and she'll just hit it straight out of the park with a new genre and a new book before I even touch the rest of her repertoire. Okay, we're officially into the last two. So number 19 on my list is The Ballad of Falling Dragons by Sarah A. Parker. When the Moon Hatched has been sat upstairs on my shelf for a few months now. I will be getting to it. I actually think I'm probably going to read it over the Christmas period, but When the Moon Hatched is absolutely on the list for soon, and The Ballad of Falling Dragons is the second book in the series. So hopefully I love When the Moon Hatched, and hopefully that makes me excited to read The Ballad of Falling Dragons. I think the chances are very high. When I start a romantasy series or when I start a fantasy series, it's very rare for me not want to progress with it. So the chances of me picking up The Ballad of Falling Dragons are very high. We don't have a release date for that yet. It's just in the second half of the year. It's in like the autumn winter time. So the last one that I have a proper date for is Rose in Chains by Julie Soto, which is the 3rd of July. And then after that, it's just the second half of the year. So don't know when The Ballad of Falling Dragons is gonna come, but I'm excited. And then finishing off so strong, the final book that I so hope we get next year is Quicksilver Book 2. I loved Quicksilver Book 1. I was worried it was gonna be one of those like overhyped books. For me, it wasn't. I really loved it. And all we have is like November. We don't have a title for it. We don't have a cover for it. We just think it's coming in November, and I'm so excited. We have no information on this whatsoever, so I haven't put it in the list, but I also really want Burn, which is book 4 of the Spark of the Everflame series. Penn Cole has just like not committed to a date. She's not telling us anything, I think because she's received quite a lot of backlash for it taking her so long to get the 4th book out, which I so disagree with. I think we should just be so grateful to these authors that they put these words down on paper and like let us have them and let us be part of these worlds that they just create out of thin air in their heads. It's so magical to me. I just can't imagine giving an author hate for them not being able to come up with it quick enough. Like, I just really disagree with that. Anyway, so she's now like not committing to anything until it's like fully like a done deal because of the backlash she's got. But I would love it if Burn came out in 2025, but like, you know, no pressure, Penn Cole. I'm so excited whenever you want to give that to us. If it's not till 2027, that's okay. I'll wait, I'll be patient. And then the final one outside of Burn that also doesn't sit on the formal list is Alchemized. Now, if anybody has read Manacled, the fan fiction Hermione, Draco and Hermione from Harry Potter story, then let me know. It has such an incredible fan base around that book, and Alchemized is going to be the traditionally published version of Manacled, which is coming out in 2025. I have never read Manacled. I don't know if it's now like gone because they're traditionally publishing it. I don't even know how that works because I thought the whole point was that you can't traditionally publish fan fiction, like you can't monetize it because technically the characters belong to J.K. Rowling, like they belong to the original author, but they're coming out with a traditionally published version. It's going to be called Alchemized and it's 2025, which means that people can get their hands on a version of Manacled. I am going to do some more research. I'm so interested to read the Hermione story. People say that it's like a alter your brain chemistry type situation, so we'll see. Let me know, have you read it? Do you know any more about this? Can you enlighten the group? Like, tell us what the deal is. But that one is also on the list for me to just do some more digging on. And that is it. That is 20 formalized new releases that I can't wait to read in 2025, and 2 slightly more vague options that we may or may not get or read. But yeah, I just can't believe that's it. 2025 books are going to be so good. That is a wrap on Bookmas 2024. I can't believe it. We've had 6 episodes of Bookmas and 6 episodes of Vlogmas. If you haven't seen any of the other Bookmas videos or the other Vlogmas videos, go watch those. If you think maybe you haven't seen all 6, next year I'd love to do a full 12 days of Bookmas. Back to back would be even cooler. I don't know, I'm still finding my feet with the YouTube thing. I'm still finding my feet in the Bookmas world, but I'm so excited for 2025. If you have been here throughout the whole of my 2024 bookish journey, or if you're brand new and you're just joining me now, like, thank you so much. I'm so excited to talk more books with you next year. I'm so grateful for every second that we've had together to talk books this year. It's like beyond a hobby now. It's an obsession. It's like a giver of so much joy. I'm obsessed. I could get so cheesy, I could get so sentimental, but thank you so, so, so much. Merry Christmas. I hope you have the loveliest, loveliest, most special time with whoever you spend Christmas with, whether you celebrate Christmas formally or not. I hope you have an opportunity to switch off, and I hope you have an opportunity to have a little bit of rest. But if you don't, because I know for so many Christmas is not a peaceful time, it's not a relaxing time, then this is not your only time to rest. Like, don't feel the pressure that if you're not chill now, if you don't reset now, you're not going to be able to charge ahead in 2025. I like to take the whole of January to just decompress, reset after a hectic year, a busy Christmas. We'll talk all about 2025 bookish goals, 2025 life goals, how I reset for a new year, but don't go into the new year with renewed sense of pressure. The normal Wednesday, Sunday uploads will resume in the new year. Thank you so much for watching. Sending you all of the cozy, bookish, reading fairy dust for the next couple of weeks, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Bye guys.